Greetings everyone, please give a moment to make sure everything's set on up. Okay, looks like Rumble's booting on up. Twitter is booting on up. Twitch is booting on up. Kick is up. And now YouTube. YouTube's booted on up as well. Let's get things booted on up. Time to activate the live chat windows. And that should be all good to go. Wait, one last thing as well. Turn that on. Because it seems like it only works when that's turned on. Yep, looks like everything is good to go. Give me a moment to check my other computer. And there we go. So let's go ahead and get started. I do have a good number of replays stockpiled on up. We'll first start out with this one. And yep, looks like everything's good to go. Greetings everyone, and Grid here with another Advance Wars Days of Ruin Tiny Wars replay. Small on the bottom right side as the Reds 4 Sith. They got Zigu Gui. Oh, I butchered that name well enough. Small on the top left side as the Yellow Calder. We got Pullet. 4 Sith is unchanged from the cartridge counterpart. Standard boarding cost, 5 radius, no expansion, no energy. And he provides plus 20% offense defense for all units. No power, nor superpower. Calder is, let's see, this is the nerfed version of Calder. There's no plus or minus, so I guess it's more close to a rebalanced Calder. I really wish they put a minus sign there, because to quickly recognize that there's in fact the nerfed non-cartridge counterpart Calder. He does provide plus 25% offense defense for all units as well, and provides 2 health repairs to all units, but it still costs funds. Either way, let's go ahead and get started. This is what appears to be a 2-base map, 1 airport. Airport's so in the middle, so it could be perhaps locked down by a missile. Oh, both players goes for straight bike. Let's see, that's interesting. Infantry costs 1,500, so we got some unusual build openers here. Calder has many infantry units in the field, does go for bike there, and capture, of course, the property there. But we got a bit of a slow start for both sides. They both start off 3 properties with 30,000 income that can support 2 infantry per turn, but both players just eyeing for bikes. Infantry there. 4 Sith and Calder don't really care what they get loaded up on in. Stronger the unit, better, but stronger the units, the more expensive. Be careful also, there's some rough seas ahead. Be careful when sailing there, you may actually sink. It's not a triangle, but it could still sink your ships. Recon deployed out by Calder. He could seal himself into the recon and try to eye for a bit of bullying. 4 Sith tank here, so he's probably going to be sealing himself into that tank. Does not load himself in that tank, and double base skip there, what? Wait. Is this a half income match? $8,000 income. No, it's not half income. What rocket? Okay. It does get trapped there on the airport. This may be a low rank game. Because too many things are popping up don't seem... What? Okay. Disengaging, expecting a normal game. We do now have a battle copter here. It does get trapped there. But the missile could be used to counter it, as well as shoot down civilian airliners. The rocket here is overall relatively a bad choice. Rockets are pretty slow, so you do have a tank to escort there, but it's also the side of the airport, so the chance of a battlecopter coming out is likely. Best go for anti-air on this side at minimum. Battlecopter can always move to the right flank of the map. We do have, what was the point out there? Another battlecopter there. Does get trapped on the battlecopter. The missile isn't put in a very defensive position there. That's not a good idea. It's also easy to be spotted. So you can charge for the battlecopter and take it out. Got a T-copter there. Maybe try to go for HQ catch. More look at this map. It could possibly be successful to do a sneaky HQ cap. After all, this is surrounded by mountains there, and a T-copter here will be hard to move around, though a infantry unit should be able to move across. Yep, we'll be able to interrupt there. Do have a Duster there. The rocket and the missile in both incredible defensive positions there. We've got a bomber. He's saved up for a bomber. Many base skips so far this game. It's generally a good idea not to do base skips, and of course you have a rocket over here now, but she does have a battlecopter and duster help support us, so anti-air is not too big an issue, but an anti-air could be useful and easy picking there. Multiple dusters now deployed in the field, a little bit too heavy dusters. T-copter actually goes right there, and possible HQ capture. The rocket needs to rotate over here again. The range of the HQ just needs to get one tile forward and it'll protect it, but it's not. It will take 2 turns. He has 2 turns just to interrupt the capture. Takes up the T-copter. Oh, Duster will get the interrupt there. No problem. Does get trapped there. Got a missile here as well as a medium tank. A lot of Duster's field, which will be good versus the bomber and the battlecopter's course. I have a feeling this is a very well even match between these two players. They are adequate for each other's skill level. Now we finally got a seal unit, a 4-Sith medium tank, which should be a pretty nice unit, though expensive. Trying to flip some properties right now. 12,000 versus 12,000. And does get a good strike on the bomber. Got a CO war tank by Calder. That's going to be a very heavy asset. Honestly, a Calder medium tank can be quite adequate. Does one-shot the infantry unit there. No, not if I have to worry about CO powers. Does go for a Duster there to shoot down the Dusters. Personally, I think an anti-air would be just a cheaper option. And takes out the bomber there. Remember as well, aircraft cannot hide on terrain tiles. Even though it's in quote-unquote fog of war, it was actually not, because the infantry there was easily able to spot it. Rocket to strike the command force of tank. Could fall back to the city to a bit of hiding repairs. Right now, in order to gauge that rocket, polish his eye for some medium tanks or light tanks. Battlecopters are going to be half bad as well, but he knows there's a missile in the field. He starts to get a good strike there. Did send this Duster to engage this Duster. Not only was max out vetted, but also he had vision of this guy here, so a relatively poor play there, since this guy can just simply push forward, easily wounded, and then this guy can finish it off. Walker used the 6 health one to get some damage there, and let the full health one retain that full health. All for good possibilities, honestly. Should not have needed to pull back there. Pulled back both of them. Of course, I understand fog of war is always an issue. In this case, for our cast division. Gets the first strike there onto the rocket there. Very nice. Calder would take a lot of extra funds there to repair the stuff at the beginning. Nope. Actually, no. This is his aura. This is the 4-Siths. Got the 2 auras mixed up. War tank nukes the missile there. Or Calder nukes it, I should say. But now he's in range of the rocket, so the war tank will could receive a pretty nice strike there. Which will do, let's just say around 3 damage, which may not be enough for the 4-Sith tank to strike it. He has a good strike on it either way. Finish off the Duster there. Infantry can have free reign. The rocket can't really can strike the CGD there, so those things have spotting from nearby city. So it's not spotted the rocket there, but the bomber does destroy the command tank. Got a rig here, planning for a temporary airport. More funds consumed to repair up that war tank down. Thanks to that rocket. Got a war tank down here as well, so which may be CO to engage this opponent's war tank. Spots the rocket there. Right now, we've got a value of 45,000 versus a value of 103,000. Calder's taking pretty good advantage. Went for another T-copter, trying to go for another sneaky HQ cap. And pulls back the war tank to the corner. Does not want to send it towards the war tank over here. So it's probably a good idea not to CO unit if you're going to immediately withdraw from it, not making use of the CO zone. Forcef is a CO where you can simply load your CO unit to a cheap trash units there and just don't care if it goes down. Artillery up north. Battlecopter now floating in the field. We've got 2 bomber advancing. Of course, got multiple base skips quite throughout the game entirely. Duster strike Duster, leaving down 1 health. This other Duster could rotate engage. 1 health infantry unit is not going to pose a big threat to the HQ. Though, given 20 turns, he can capture the HQ. Goes for another missile to help shoot down civilian airliners. I don't think it was actually worth it sending this Duster all the way back here to pick off that 1 health infantry unit there, but of course there's an anti-X has to be careful of. Base blocks there, very nice. Oh, good idea to set the missile up on that city. And looks like Calder's going to be eyeing to go for HQ cap now. The 1 health Duster may be interrupted. Battlecopter can interrupt. 4% probably won't be able to interrupt. But the Battlecopter can at least knock out half his health. Takes out the artillery piece there. And looks like he base blocked everything that turns, so deploys up nothing turns. Got 9,000 versus 15,000 income, so Calder's having some good income at the moment. Does get trapped there with the 1 health Battlecopter. Missiles down to 2 ammo. What's the base ammo of a missile? 5. You know, I see 4 tubes there. Temporary port being established from the northern part of the map. Could have probably not base blocked his Battlecopter there. Base out that bike, no problem. And the rocket finished off another unit there. Goes for another rocket. Nothing spot at the moment though. Going for another capture. This time he has a good amount of coverage. I don't think he's going to interrupt it this time. Battlecopter's out of range. Of course, he needs to take another 2 more turns to fully capture. Takes out the T-copter. And the command war tank does go down there. Strikes the Battlecopter there. Artillery strikes the missile. Duster strikes the Battlecopter. Finished off there. Spots the rocket of the bomber. And yep, looks like the capture will succeed next turn. And that's going to be game. Well, looks like it's going to just do some final bombing. And that is the end of the replay. This is Angrade saying thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. Relatively well matched replay for the two players. Not really a good replay though. Let's see now. Next one. Let's do this one here. Greetings everyone, Angrade here for another Advance Wars Days of Ruin Tiny Wars replay. I spawn on top left side as the yellow beast. We got Dio the beast. Spawn bottom right side as the green forces. We got Skylar SK. This was more just not bottom right, but just bottom north versus south, rather than east versus west. When it comes to this map, it is a double or triple base map, one airport. Overall, I do like Days of Ruin a little bit better. It's a lot more interesting dynamics, and I think the balance scaling is a little bit better in Days of Ruin when it comes to the vehicle tiers. Like, tanks are a little bit more effective versus medium tanks. Medium tanks, of course, cheaper, and the war tank is still an effective ground unit, but nothing as absurd as the war tank or the mega tank. Either way, when it comes to COs, do have a standard boarding cost for the beast. He's technically a custom CO in Days of or in Tiny Wars. 3, 30, 60, 60. In the base game, he was just a placeholder CO who had offered there's never a time where you fought against him with a power, so he's just literally like no CO. The map started pretty nice as well, and plus I also offer a lot more terrain types, though Tiny Wars did expand upon that. The Beast is a relatively unique CO. He has a bit of a list. I'll just take a little bit so. All units get the standard +10/+10. All specialty units get plus choice offense units. Specialty units are infantry, mechs, bikes, recons, and flares. So lighter weight raiding units, if you will. Basically anything that's below 5,000 funds is a specialty unit. And if they end their turn in the CO zone on an opponent property, it will basically pillage that property's income immediately from your opponent, and also prevent the income for that same next turn as well. So you can steal some money from your opponent before they get it. When it's the beast also has both a power and superpower. Both cost 60 energy. You get the Lin effect, also known as the Sonya effect, where you get additional movement and vision, but only for specialty units, so the infantry, mechs, bikes, recons, and flares. And you still get the pillage effect, but that's now global. Or you can just go straight up raid, where now on any properties provides the known income, you get triple the cost, but it lasts for 3 turns. So you can also end your turn on your own properties to get paid forward 3 turns, and on neutral properties to just get 3 turns of income immediately. Or you put on your opponent's properties to steal your opponent's income for the next 3 turns, but get paid for it immediately. More just think raiding. Not necessarily Sammy. Sammy involves capturing. He's of all of them about not capturing to get income. Boris Sif is of course unchanged from the cartridge counterpart. Has standard boarding cost, 5 radius, no expansion, no energy, and all units provide +20/+20. No power nor superpower. So either way, let's get started. But yeah, I suppose for Sami proves infantry and mechs, which including Days of Ruin bikes along that mix, but also does support increasing in supporting recons and flares as 2 slightly heavier units. But of course, like I said before, it's not about capturing; it's all about raiding. In actuality, most people don't really go for the rating effect. They actually, especially when it comes to power and superpower, most times it seems like players go for the vision aspect, which is something similar to Lin, but only limited to certain select units. So when it comes to comparing the advanced from previous games, it's actually like a combination of Sonya and Sammy. Well, neither being fully other. So no victory march, just stealing. Of course, this map does also offer gunboats on top of the HQ, which doesn't prevent any sort of immediate HQ cap, just give a little bit of buffer there. This map does have a decent amount of properties and sinkers, so maybe the raid effect could be a bit more effective. I think the beast generally is best if he loads himself into a bike. Actually, it's something that's a bit interesting. It gives a bit more play and counterplay, where you have to gamble a little bit to get the CO zone and power charged up as well. It's a bit of a trade-off overall. If there were ever a Days of Ruin 2, what I would actually advise would be if they had both a mode where you had the old CO or the new CO zone effect. So imagine like you choose matchmaking and you want to play a game where both players get power charged through destroying units. While there's also another mode where you just simply do it in the Days of Ruin fashion where you load up the students on the field. I could almost see that just be a toggle setting for a multiplayer. So people don't have to debate between the systems, just toggle the setting. Who knows, maybe even custom games where one person plays one way, the other player plays another way. Just ideas. Oh, does get trapped there, and shoots him because of that. Comm Tower, there's also a pair of Comm Towers, and of course in Days of Ruin, Comm Towers are changed where they provide plus 5% offense and defense, which actually makes it a little bit weaker, because the sort of nullifies each other. You know what's funny? It's, Penny's actually a top tier CO as right now in the game. She's a monster in Days of Ruin. I'm not joking. Right now, putting her into an old, if she would be implemented a global effect, she would be absurdly powerful. She's right now an A tier to S tier CO in these Tiny Wars. And the only thing that she got a slight buff is, rather than applying +10/+10 for all units in our CO zone, it's got buff of +15/+15. A very small buff, but she's actually a top tier CO. Because probably I should mention as well, here are the weather effects. Imagine causing a sandstorm for 3 turns. Your opponent has 30% less firepower globally. Not because of being CO zone, you help nullify it, but globally 30% firepower is massive. Snow, all units get -1 movement, which is quite problematic. And Brainy is particularly powerful in non-Fog of War games because it forces your opponent to play Fog of War and have horrible Fog of War. Or you play with regular normal Fog of War. It makes them completely blind. Yep. I suppose one thing as well, the global effects of the... And since it lasts for 3 turns of global effects, in a game where you don't have global effects, it's probably one of the reasons why she's such a top tier CO. Nope, probably should start focusing on the game now. Sorry about that, been a little bit distracted with talking. Do have an A tier over here, as well as a tank and Forsyth to load himself an artillery piece in a position where you can range something. Get some good kills there. Of course, Forsyth doesn't have to worry about generating CO power, so he can be loaded up with anything, be just fine. Honestly, bikes and recons are not bad assets for him as well. Artillery is an interesting choice. Haven't seen him load up into artillery all too often, but it is relatively cheap and mobile. So yeah, it's not a bad unit. Unusual, but for him, he can make it work. The Beast already has 37 energy, so it got +1 CO zone. Flare fired there. Recon rotating around. Let's see now. Can't see any no income effect. I wasn't paying close enough attention to that. I'll try to keep an eye on that a little bit more. Oh, looks like your comment got auto-modded. The word cheap got flagged. Here, I'll just approve that quickly. Cheap, mobile, and likes standing behind walls. Yep. Sorry about that. Auto-mod. I think as well with Forsyth, you don't really care if you see a unit goes down too often. It can be a bit expensive, but just load in something cheap and you get full effects. Oh, got a lot of anti-tanks down here. Anti-tanks are a little bit too slow. This map is quite large, so I don't know about that. Does scout out the infantry unit there. Takes out the battle copter of the anti-air. Very nice. It did sustain a shot thanks to the aura of the seal zone, but a 4-health infantry just finished off either way. Good picks there. Got a medium tank push down south, and it's a little train of mechs. The Beast does improve mechs' firepower by 20%, make them a decent option. Mechs are overall always quite decent, they're just very slow. That's the biggest issue. A lot of good picks there, pick off a good number of units. Right now we've got 95,000 versus 98, and the Beast has the CO power available and super power, so we have to wait and see what he goes for. Still a lot of anti-tanks by Forsyth. He's going to play the long game. We've got medium tank infantry. So will he activate his CO power? Flare there. Okay, is you see here? You see the C rather than S. So he's popped the power, which is the vision effect. So now all of his specialty units, infantry, mechs, bikes, recons, and flares, has +2 vision range and sees through hiding. And when it comes to Tiny Wars, the vision effect is a bit more accurate than it is in, what's it called? Advanced Wars by Web. And you can see here, here's a no income effect applied globally. So now, if I were to go back one turn, go back another turn, wait, that's forward. There we go. You can see here, for 25,000 income, 25,000 in the bank. Now it's at 24,000 and 26,000 bank. So you can see the bit of money stealing there. So Forsyth will not get income here next turn, and only next turn. So what is the Mass AT? Well, first off, they're very, very slow and they're expensive. And infantry, bikes, and other machine gun units are quite effective versus them. The best way to counter them, don't let them get in a big mass. And two, well, first off, don't get a big mass. They're very slow. You could smash the front line by the time it gets up, there's nothing left to support. And bikes are pretty cost effective against them. Anti-tanks are what? 11,000? I always forget the exact amount of them. Yep. 11,000 there, and a bike can just go up, get about 3 points of damage onto it, and they cost 2,500. In short, infantry. You can see another steel fund effect there. Battlecopter gets a good strike. Tank does spot everything there, but now the medium tank's a little bit too close. Does strike one of the mechs there. Mechs are effectively counter everything, but they get countered by everything. They have the same firepower as a tank and as a battlecopter, at least in Days of Run. Mini tank, and base skip. And looks like the Beast will capture this property. Got 25,000 versus 24,000 income. Beast Recon 4 gets a strike on Forsyth Command Artillery, takes it out there, and swells that one. Lots of quick picks there. Medium tank gets a good strike. Takes out the battlecopter as well. A clean sweep on the right flank for the Beast. He's at 110,000 field versus 97. Of course, it is player 1, so gotta add the day-to-day income for Forsyth. But the Beast is cleaning house on the front line, and these expensive anti-tanks are slow to the front line. They have, what, 4 movement? And they have tire movement, so they move pretty slow in planes as well. They are slower than rockets, I believe. Medium tanks, of course, are tracked units, so they move quite nicely. And they are Tire B, which is slightly different than Tire A. But for most aspects, you can just sort of treat them the same. Because like I said beforehand, you asked for the counter for Mass AT. The Beast destroyed everything because the reinforcements too slow to the front line, sort of like rockets. And now these anti-tanks, they're effective, but there's nothing left for them to support. They're good front line, but there's nothing left to support them, or for them to support. Got a rocket here. Does get a good strike on the medium tank, and the medium tank puts a good round there as well. Also, mechs, bombers, seaplanes, and battleships cream anti-tanks in 2 shots if the defensive stars don't cover them well enough. True, but bombers are bombers. They're expensive. Seaplanes are pretty rare. Even math we get a free aircraft carrier. Speaking about bombers, I'm going to have to eat crow, and there's a bomber there. Also, anti-tanks, they're slow. That's still an issue for them, as always. Overall, it feels like bikes are a good counter to them, in my opinion. Because they're more likely to connect. But of course, if you somehow connect with them, the mechs will do good work. Yeah. Flare, medium tank flare there. With the amount of interact units there, flares would be a good combination to go along with them. And right now, just sort of keeping this distance for now. Well, seaplanes still cost 15,000 to produce, even from an aircraft carrier. That's one reason why you don't see seaplanes too often. You have to pay for the aircraft carrier and then pay for seaplanes. Seaplanes for 15,000, they're an excellent unit for 15,000. Just the problem is, you have to usually have to get an aircraft carrier to go along with them. Oh, got a bit of no income there, a bit of raiding. Just a pre-deploy one. Personally, I always want to see a Tabitha seaplane. Just CO launch one of aircraft carrier, go to the HQ to get loaded on up, and see her nuke everything one shot. Oh yeah, artillery is not a bad option. While they do fight each other, probably relatively equal, just artillery is cheap. Picks up Beast Command tank there. Does get a strike on that mech, did 6 points of damage to it. Medium tank infantry. Right now we do have 162,000 fielded by the Beast, while Forsyth only has 128, so he's forces behind battle turn a little bit more. But he does have a good solid front line on the right side. Has an anti-tank for emergency on the left side as well. Artillery able to range the anti-tank while in the forest. Very nice. Mech does get good spotting there. And also, let's see, what does it look like? A medium tank could of course strike it for 3 points, 32 damage. And then one not on the city would be 35. So, not a cost-effective engagement there for a Vet 2 tank. Bomber does strike the tank there, and the mech takes it out. Got a command medium tank here by Forsyth. And tank recon. Tabitha seaplane, you would better one-shot everything. You only have 3 shots. True, you have to get at least a rig on the field to follow her, and maybe for a temporary report for her as well. But that would be a very big investment. 15,000 for the seaplane, 7,500 for the CO unit, and 5,000 for a rig. Because if you're trying to do something fancy like that, you're going to need a rig. Artillery gets a good strike on the anti-tank there. A couple more good flare shots there. Forsyth has a good core of medium tanks, but of course there's a bomber. Missiles are good. Problem is, they're slow. Missiles did get buffed in Days of Ruin compared to the previous Advanced Wars, where they have 6 base range rather than 5. So provide a bit more coverage. Probably still effective versus civilian airliners, like all missile SAM sites are. Got a rig here. Rig, maybe eyeing for a temporary airport, maybe eyeing for some resupply there. Don't see anything low on ammo. Maybe trying to pull a boost some mechs. Does take out the rig there, which he looks like he already built a temporary airport somewhere. Ah, right there. He actually is using temporary airports. That's actually a pretty rarity. Because temporary airports are still pretty slow. You would imagine that's immensely a big buff for APCs in Days of Ruin, but nobody really deploys on temporary airports. It's just too slow. You have to spend, what, 3 turns getting it up? Because you have to spend 2 turns building it, then a turn to get off of it before you can actually use it. It's just pretty slow. Mech, ATR, and medium tank. Good strike there, but he did get a little bit too close with the medium tanks. Now he could get bombed, battlecoptered, and however, he's in for the minimum range of the rockets. Rocket, tank, and base skip. Does see the flare there from the mechs. Mechs counter everything, and they get countered by everything. Wait, what? He sacks his command recon there and deletes his anti-air? What? What did he just delete as well? The gunboat, okay. I understand the, what? I am not sure. Why did he delete the anti-air? Why did he sack the CO recon? I understand the gunboat to a certain degree, but he didn't need to do that either. Is he just sort of trolling a little bit? He is in a pretty good advantage. He must be pretty confident. Mech, medium tank, recon. Takes out the battlecopter there. Shrakes the flare, takes out the medium tank. He was actually in range of the bomber there. I guess he didn't realize he was in range of the bomber. He only got the vision range later on. Got another missile over here. A little bit too heavy missiles, a little bit too heavy anti-tanks. Rockets a little bit too slow. I think Forsyth's building too much indirects this moment. True, but deleting the anti-air back up here. Is he going to try to CO the, no, he CO'd the bike, of course. I don't know. Maybe just trolling around a little bit. And here it does get a good strike from the bomber, and the what's left of the missile hits the T of the Duster, which can just fall back to the temporary airport. And Forsyth's getting some good engagements over here, but the Beast still has plenty of assets over here. With a good number of mech support, and mechs this close to a lot of stuff, rare, and when they just close the distance, they can do some good work. The mech can get a good first strike on either the tank or onto the anti-air. Strikes the rocket of the tank, anti-air finishes off the battlecopter, strikes the anti-air there. Mech starts capturing the HQ. He has some units nearby to interrupt it, such as the anti-air as well as the rocket. Oh, bomber gets trapped. 2 health bomber getting trapped, not too big of a deal. It's dead either way. He drops the capture there, leaving the 3 capture progress remaining. You can follow join craft for 1 health and get the 9 health over here. A lot of good kills over here. The Beast sort of threw away this flank because he feels like he's confident enough to win the right flank. 159 versus 120. Flare finished off the rocket. Does move the mech off of the HQ to let the bike capture it up. Now with the tank and the medium tank nearby, artillery providing us a bit of extra buffer there. I think the HQ will be captured next turn. The CO tank does go down, anti-air forward among other things. Rocket mech anti-air. Does interrupt the capture there, but down to 5. Got a bike nearby for joint capture. Anti-air did take a shot there, but he has dust nearby as well, so the battlecopter should be wounded enough, won't be able to interrupt the capture a second time. Bomber infantry. Going captures there, hits the medium tank of the artillery piece. Does not take out the anti-air there. Blair finishes off though. It also strikes the battlecopter, and the 1 health anti-air does get a good strike there. Yep, I see this being captured fully next turn. Tank mech battlecopter. After that 1 health battlecopter didn't get a single point of damage. It got 9% damage. Just needed one more percent to get 1 damage there. Both the and that was a resign, not an HQ capture. Either way, there's Angrade saying thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. Not that button, this button. Oops, not that button, this button. Greetings everyone, Angrade here for another Advance Wars Days of Ruin Tiny Wars replay. Spawn on the left side as the red Wayland. We got Benchwarmer 2. Spawn on the left side or right side as the blue Grot. We got Come Swallower. A very pleasant name. Wayland has been buffed from the cartridge counterpart. His bolting cost is 30% rather than 50%. Standard, he still retains a 2 radius, 30, 60, 60. Standard expansion and CO zone. He still retains plus 10% offense defense for all units, and all area units get additional plus 20% offense and 40% defense, making area units have minimum plus 50% defense. And CO power has been buffed. Still provides plus 10 global, area units get plus 20% offense, and then his area units get a staggering plus 300% defense globally. The plus 300% defense globally effectively reduces the damage received by 75%, if my math is incorrect. Grot is a custom CO, has standard boarding cost, no raise like Tabata, 20, 50, 50, so her CO zone does expand a little bit quicker. She provides in her CO zone, initially only for herself, plus 10% offense and defense, and all units, including direct ones, get plus 1 max range, and this acts like the battleship. And of course, if she does manage to get her CO power, she of course can provide this globally, but instead of plus 1 range, it is plus 2, making them all into mini battleships. Yep. I always love how both what appears to be both Days of Ruin and Advance Wars by Web doesn't have any limitations where you can make your names. There was a game where I casted where it was a Vombolt whose name was Fuckface69. Either way, let's get started. This is a 3-base map, 1 airport, also a handful of seaports in the map, but with the amount of shores on the field, it's not meant for any blue water ships, just the brown water coastal ships. That is probably referencing the many different wrong games. In other words, transports only. No blue water navies. Of course, both players do start out with a gunboat on top of the HQ to prevent any sort of sneaky or just a bit of buffer for the HQ to capture. And I do believe the gunboats do actually get 4-star defense. But not like Arians, which ignore defense stars unless on top of an airport or a temporary airport. Pretty sure they get defense stars from temporary airports. I'm really assuming they're getting defense stars from temporary airports. I don't know why. Now I'm starting to second guess myself. Well, if Tasha can swear, why can't the players themselves? Oh yeah, she did do a little bit. The game is rated teen, right? Or was it rated E10? Every game's a little bit different when it comes to swears. Though the most annoying character from the game, or the character I just hate the most, is probably the mayor. We do have this lander over here, and same file position over here. Bit of a boost there. Many captures going on. No. Yep, just bikes and infantry. No. Oh, we got a recon up north. Yep. Oh, here's a really stupid fun fact. I never realized until I started casting Days of Ruin or Tiny Wars online. I never knew there was a evil counterpart to the CEO Power music, because let's just be frank, in the campaign, the enemy CEOs never managed to get a CEO Power. And Wayland does have the evil. I'm pretty sure he has the evil soundtrack for the CEO Power, right? He should, at least. Though he is actually relatively unique when it comes to the Advanced Wars series, where he's just self-interested. He's just a selfish man who's just more close to a mercenary. Most of the times they're like black and white. The recon push forward interrupts that capture there. Grot can fire from her current position onto the recon. Plus, there's also no other air defense CEOs in the series. So he is actually one of the more unique characters of all the Advanced Wars, which is sort of surprising. Surprisingly, mercenaries who only look out for themselves is a rare concept in this war game. Does get a good shot down there. Wayland's now 10 energy. He has loaded himself into a regular tank. He still applies himself plus 10, but he can always get battlecopters boosted by popping the superpower. And he is starting to get a bit of a swarm of battlecopters. Grot can engage the battlecopters at range with her command tank. Not great with the machine gun, but still, she can actually somewhat fight battlecopters safely. Wayland's tank here should get a good shot, but he has nothing to really stop the battlecopter. The anti-air may be a little bit behind. He could load the anti-air over here and then try pushing forward a little bit farther forward than normal. That'd probably be a good choice. Grot's up to 18 energy. She does not got him plus 1 radius. Yeah, as much as Grot seems like she would be a very powerful CO, Talbota still does the dueling effect better than she does. Command tank did a good strike there. She did get plus 1 radius from that. She did get enough retaliation damage. So now this is where Grot actually becomes actually useful. Where she gets the plus 1 radius, there's a lot of things she can do here. Battlecopter, tank, infantry, tank. Because now, for those who don't know how Grot exactly works, the plus 1 range is applied from where you start. So, if you had, say, a tank right here, and move it, say, up north out of the radius, it still retains plus 1 range until the end of its turn. This is where Grot becomes actually powerful. Oh, when it comes to the custom COs, the Tiny Wars devs and the Discord server does do like a yearly, players can submit their CO design as and maybe gets implemented in the game sort of aspect. Since the CO pool is much smaller for Days of Ruin, they're not afraid to add in some extra COs. Does delete the gunboat there to allow the battle copter to get on top of the HQ, so Waylon can redeploy his CO unit onto this HQ, but he also went for double battle copter, which is actually still pretty rare on this map, even with 2 airports. Battlecopter does strike the battlecopter, but he can pull back to let the battlecopter strike the battlecopter. Yeah, for some other reason, it always seems like Grat's actually a weaker CO, even though her powers seem like it's fantastic. Right now, I actually believe it's better to load Grat up initially to an anti-air of all things, so she could start picking off infantry units there to get her CO zone powered up, so she can start pushing other units to actually do some actual good work. Nice little merge there. This battlecopter will push forward. You can see there, he pushes CO unit into the radius there to get the boosted damage, allowing him to easily finish off that battlecopter there. And now, Waylon does have his CO power and a good swarm of battlecopters, so we may see his CO power next turn. He doesn't get any plus movement range for his air units, so he could hold off for a little bit, try to edge battlecopters in a good position before trying to swarm on in. But with plus 300% defense, I believe he takes 75% less damage. Oh, you saw there? Anti-air right here. And push forward right here to engage this battlecopter here. It is where you start from, not where you end on. The extra defense did save the battlecopter, and you saw the same thing there with the infantry unit. This is where Grat becomes useful. It's actually difficult to get her +1 CO zone, because she doesn't have the same firepower as Tabata. Even though she has a smaller requirement to expand the CO zone, it's easier to still do it with Tabata, because she can just nuke 4 or 3 units, no problem, while Grat has trouble nuking 2 units at one turn. That's why I say anti is better for her. It's easier for a Grat anti to one-shot an infantry unit. We may see Waylon's CO power. He may need to use his tank there. Let's see what he does. Does pop it and lands himself on City for 2 defense stars. And for those who are more familiar with other advanced wars, cities have 2 defense stars, forests have 3 in Days of Ruin. Good picks there. We'll take a look at the defense aspect there. One shots the battlecopter. Is that the unit there? Grat has 25 energy. She doesn't have too much energy at the moment. Halfway to her power. And of course, William will have +10/+10 global. Even put some machine gun rounds in the anti-air, finish it off. Waylon will end the turn with 140, Grat will start turn with 102. And let's take a look at that absurd defense. You can see here, Battlecopter has right now plus 310% defense. Let's see now. We'll take a look at this one here. You can see here, Anti-Air does 25 damage, base damage versus the Battlecopter right now. What should be a one-shot is far from it. It's not even guaranteed to pick it off if it rolls minimal luck. Now with that Battlecopter load up there, still retains the same defense there. Yeah, that's Waylon now. Is he actually a little bit more useful? Aerosy coated, chrome coated. Now all of his battlecopters are chrome lined somehow and not get crashed with all the extra weight. And that's why he's just focusing, Grat's focused down all the infantry units there, because it's easier to take on the infantry than the battlecopters. Ends turn of 124. Wayland starts turn 123, so still turn day-to-day difference. So not massive advantage at the moment. And he's gonna get some decent energy charge this turn. Oh, I just realized I didn't see he went for a bomber. Does not take out that anti-air there. A lot of good kills there. Tank. Battlecopter, tank, infantry. Takes out the battlecopter there. The Grot boosted tank does get a shot on that tank. Of course, taking shots outside the CO zone still does not generate any power charge, even though they do get the +1 range. And she decides to pull back the command tank there. She's just trying to keep it safe. She's almost at her superpower, and I don't think I've ever seen Grot pop her superpower. Anti-air, tank. She has gone for a good number of anti-airs for good reason. But turning everything to a mini battleship is going to be quite powerful. Wayland does have the bomber there, has 20 energy stored on up. Managed to one-shot the anti-air thanks to the Wayland boosted zone. After all, it would have +3% firepower, able to really break through the anti-air's little bit of survivability. And Wayland is at 55 energy. He is 56 energy. He is... won't get a CO power this turn. Needs 3 more energy, and there's only 2 more there. One thing that Grot could do is keep her units away from the CO zone in order to prevent another superpower. But Wayland's doing very well this game. And popping another superpower could allow him to be very aggressive aircraft. They effectively would have lightning strike because trying to shoot at them is not great. But looks like he's going to enter the CO zone. Does get a good strike from the bomber. Put it down to half health. Anti-air, tank, battlecopter, bike. With the amount of battlecopters in the field, maybe we better go for a duster, honestly. Yeah, Wayland has no counter to a duster at the moment. Not even anti-air in the field as far as I can see. He has enough energy, but looks like he's just straight up pulling back. Yeah, Bluntia is generally a good idea. But in this case, he's just going to regroup and then probably pop it next turn. Right now, he has 125,000 field course as day-to-day. Grot has 127, so they're pretty even. The moment made back down to day-to-day differences. They both have 25,000 income. And we've got a war tank now pulled out by Wayland. Grot has gone heavy in anti-air and wants to be a little bit more heavy than medium tank. Medium tanks in Days of Ruin cost 12,000 or 16,000, but they're a bit more vulnerable to tanks. They offer good firepower, but no extra defense really. Just something you need a little bit more edge. Also, I think medium tanks are maybe a little bit too weak in Days of Ruin. I could see them gain like maybe a 10% increase in defense, and I think then they would be a bit more adequate. They just feel a little bit too weak, maybe just 5%. Boost the war tank forward, anti-air. Battlecopter, tank, infantry. Battlecopter, tank. Those use a battlecopter to strike the war tank. It's on top of a city. Drain a bit of funds. Boosted Grot range there. No CO power by Wayland just yet. This battlecopter would be out of range of this battlecopter there, thanks to the +1 range of Grot. Grot still needs 9 more energy. She probably won't be able to get it next turn unless Wayland push a unit close to her CO unit. Maybe a good idea for just to keep his distance away the CO zone, but the +1 CO power, because +2 range of everything would be very, very powerful globally. Here's the battlecopter there. Yeah, just keep units away. Oh, did sack some units there. Does pop the CO power. And now he, of course, has a bunch of defense. Bombs away. And Wayland may try to close up the game now. Does take out those units there. Capture the radar station. Possibly. I mean, global +60, +60. But usually if she does pop it, she generally outright wins the game. It's hard to, yeah, because you get a Sturm Meteor +60, +60 global. So imagine combining Samurai Spirit and Sturm's Meteor Strike in one power. Which is absurd. Tank, anti-air tank. Let's see now. Grot ends with a very even 150,000 on the field. Wayland starts to turn to 156, so they're still pretty even. And sacks that unit there. Gotta be careful not to get her a CO power charge. I've never seen her charge her CO power, and nor will I. And losing out her command tank like that could be game losing at this point in time. She, of course, can delete her gunboat, but get something sealed right there, or either seal this tank. Don't think anything. Sealing the anti-airs is actually a good option. Maybe she could seal her gunboat and do absolutely nothing. Lots of good kills there. A lot of good kills. She just clean swept up north big time. Clean sweeped. Of course, Wayland still has a pretty good air combat group here. Bomber is actually getting relatively low on fuel, so it may need to fall back to this airport sooner rather than later. Because 5 fuel per turn, it's probably 2 turns away. It's actually getting dangerously close to crashing. It may just need to fall back. That pushes forward. It's at 5 health, so losing it won't be terribly big. Just, what, 20,000 funds? Or 10,000 funds technically remaining in there if it crashes. War tank, bike, tank. And Wayland does have another seal power available. Anti will get a couple good strikes there. Good strike there on that tank, and that tank gets battered, bruised, and beaten. Hits the anti there with a regular tank. Grot's trying to push forward for tanks and backwards. Artillery, battlecopter, infantry. No CO power this turn to use the tank there. Now, his area units didn't need the extra firepower to clean up the down south, so using the CO power when his aircraft had to be a bit more aggressive wouldn't be a half bad idea. But right now, Grodd only has 2 anti-airs, so the extra defense not going to be super important. The extra firepower is going to be a bit more useful at this moment, and Weyland has deployed another bomber. Grodd's tank now at 15 energy. And like to get killed off next turn. Grodd right now has 103,000 field versus 148. Anti-air tank. Battlecopter infantry. Instant 127,000 versus 147, and there's CO power. It's a Grodd's command tank, no problem. Bomber strikes that unit there and hits the anti-air, finish it off as well. Battlecopter, tank, anti-air infantry. I am curious now. Can't see how much of damage will do to the bomber. The bomber is fully vet, even though I had half health. Recruit some forces up here. Is all that unit there? I am curious as well. Because we know against battlecopters it does 25 damage. Against bombers, it's only 16. Granted, that is a fully maxed out vet bomber for a little extra defense. Tank infantry and anti-air up north. That bomber is, the last time I checked, it was actually running low on fuel. He has 6 fuel remaining. He needs a rig up, goes for full fighter. Okay, that's probably a bit of a troll fighter. Because there is his only battle for the field. And crushing through the right flank as well. Or the northern flank. But yeah, it looks like the bomber will go down next turn. Strikes the gunboat. Merge there. Infantry, infantry, infantry. And looks like this bomber will not go down next turn, but the following. War tank took quite a bit of a pounding there. Does manage to pick off Weyland's command tank there, of Grodd's command tank, gaining 5 energy. I have a feeling Weyland's going to put the fighter on top of the HQ to CO it. Yep, he's going to CO it next turn. War tank's probably getting pretty low on ammo as well, down to 1 ammo. Bomber is down to 1 fuel, so will crash next turn. Bomber up north gains some great hits there. Tank finished off some other units. War tank falls back to the city. And does strike the anti-air as well, and finish off that unit. Pike, infantry, duster. And of course, rig. Tank, tank, tank. Both players are still 25,000. Grodd's at 87 versus 130. Of course, with Weyland does his day-to-day. Of course, Weyland did CO his fire just because he could. Grodd has loaded herself up into a battlecopter. Good kills though. The tank could finish off the artillery piece. Thus, yes it does. And I think Garot's pretty much done for. 65,000 versus 140. Tank, battlecopter. Strikes the command aircraft, mech command fighter, the ace fighter. Anti-air infantry. Anti-air, battlecopter infantry. Yeah, this game's ultimately over in my opinion. I don't think there's any way that Grat could come back. Does take out Willem's fighter. Does a bit of a joke fighter. Just CO this battlecopter over here. No, capturing some of these temporary airports would be a good idea. I suppose this one is captured. Wasn't really paying attention to that. What if the bomber could have made it back there in time? I forgot there was temporary airports players could capture. I sort of like the maps where we can capture temporary airports, or even just have one nearby the regular airport. This gives them a little more flexibility so you don't have to worry about occupying the airport space. Willem's on the capture Gundam property is 28,000 with 22,000 income. T-copter, anti-air tank infantry. Anti-air there. Battlecopter, bike, and another anti-air. War tank has definitely got a Gundam kills. Deploys a temporary airport in the map, which could be quite nice. Willem's load himself up with this battlecopter. No strikes there. Puts that other battlecopter on top of the temporary airport to get a bit of resupply. Tank, mech, infantry. Anti-air artillery. And of course another anti-air down south. And looks like he's going to try to grab some of these properties up here. Force a bit of a reaction. Also, let's finish off there, just leaving the command. Nope. Now nothing can respond up there. Could fall, just keep T-copter on the shore, preventing any sort of lander to interrupt. Or landing. Medium tank. You also have a gunboat here. May try to interrupt the lander of the gunboat. And this battleship. Okay, that's... She's probably going to resign relatively soon if she went for a battleship there to prevent two properties from being decaptured. No, at this point in time, the battleship can get some good coverage. The battleship can move and shoot in the same turn. And Duster does block the one tile it needs to exit. You got a shore tower there and cannot leave through there. You have to get a temporary port or a temporary seaport to get a capability to move there. So great duster placement there. Another battleship can still strike some targets from over here. Another gunboat by Weyland. Yep, and he's just sort of messing around a little bit at this one time. There is actually, I think, single-player content. Some custom missions, and I think also, like, in Advance Wars by Web, the whole campaign. After this game, we can take a quick look for you. Zeo's the good battleship, because why not? Right now, Weyland's at 28,000. More properties, not being kept more. Does get a good strike there from the Mac. Does strike the lander there, knocks it out. Of course, Duster can just keep the battleship there, though I suppose battleship can always go back this direction. Yep. Yeah, I think this is point in time. It's one of those syndromes where some players just don't back out the game. There's no way to come back at this point in time. Right now, double the value. 186 versus 82 starting. Not to mention the income difference as well. Mac Battlecopter, anti-air. It looks like Weyland's bringing in multiple... Yep, he's bringing multiple rigs. He may try to establish a chain of temporary seaports in order to get a battleship over here, I guess. Though, all the other shores, and it's still not going to be useful. I think at this point in time, both players are just messing around. That is a bridge on sea rather than bridge on shore. I wonder, can a bridge on sea or shore be upgraded with a temporary seaport? Got a rocket now floating in the field. A new Advance Wars on Switch 2? Probably not. Advance Wars may be a dead series, because apparently the, I think it was Advance Wars Reboot Camp did not perform as well as they would like. At this point in time, any chance of a new Advance Wars game will probably have to be at least licensed to a third-party company. That's my best guess. They may, some company may just try to buy the IP. After all, a game like this, of course, can be recreated through a web browser, but as well as could be perhaps recreated in Unity to be sold on such as Steam, and also perhaps ported over to the Switch. I never bought the Switch, nor the Switch, and I'm probably not going to buy a Switch 2. Maybe I will. A couple games sort of piqued my interest, like Shin Megami Tensei 5, but that's about it. And I just have enough games on PC. I just have enough games on PC. None of the games on the Switch really interested me other than Shin Megami Tensei 5. Anti-air, tank. That makes sense. Plus, if it's a console that multiple people can share, that wouldn't be half a bad idea. Good strikes there. The gunboat strikes the battleship, doing 5 points of damage, 5% damage. And we've got an aircraft carrier. Will we see some seaplanes? Yeah, but I'm sort of just... I'm done with the replay. This game's just like, just... Wayland should just knock out the gunboat and just finish off the game. But I think they're both just messing around at this point in time. So I wonder, there's a 3 operations button. I wonder what happens if I click it. Oh crap. That just fast forwarded to the end of the game. Oops. Oh well, the game is ultimately over. My apologies. This is Angrade saying thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. And before I get started on the next replay, I do need to use the restroom. One moment please. Apologies, I am back, and you wanted to know if there's any solo content, right? Oops, wrong button. F10 is not usable in this game. Yep, let's see. There is single player. Yep, you got the campaign, as well as 2 custom replays. It says tutorial land. Maybe you can poke around a little bit more. Yeah, got 1, 4, 5, so it looks like there is 2 there, maybe a custom hard, not so sure, but I'll let you have fun with that if you're curious about the single player aspect. Of course, signing up to Tiny Wars is, of course, free. Keyword, Tiny Wars if you're trying to find it. tinywars.online/game. Either way, on to the next replay. Probably have time for 2 more replays, maybe 3, depends how well these next games go. Longer's better. Either way, let's go ahead and get started. Greetings everyone, Angrade here with another Advance Wars Days of Ruin Tiny Wars replay. So on the south side is the dark gray black Gage, we got Wei Yan. So on the top side is the blue, slightly cyan Isabella, got Jim Laurie. When it comes to CEOs, Gage is slightly buff on the cartridge counterpart, has standard boarding cost to radius 30, 60, 60, so standard CEO zone and expansion. He provides, of course, a standard +10 for all units. Ground and naval units get additional +10% defense. Indirect units and naval units get +20% offense, and CEO unit himself get +20% offense. So if you go for a ground indirect unit, it does get +20, +40, and +50 with 20% defense. Of course, he can be loaded with any unit, get at least +10 or +30, +20. And also, he is also technically the naval specialist. Even though Navy is vastly improved in Days of Ruin, there's still not many naval specialists. You got Gage and Greyfield. When it comes to his CO power, of course, does provide all that globally. All CO units, of course, get +1% offense globally, of course, and also all the indirect units get +2 max indirect range. For Isabella, she, of course, is actually nerfed from the cartridge counterpart, has standard boarding cost to radius 30, 60, 60. Plus provides +20% offense, +10% defense. It's a little bit weaker there on +20/+20, and all units get, of course, that effect, +2 movement range, and only 1 max range. So let's go ahead and get started. This map is a 2-base map, 1 airport. The airport is surrounded by shores, so this is 100% traversable, though these mists on sea are not traversable. Those are not shores, but I do have double shore here and here. So, a bit of a pond. Probably because you need a lot of displacement area for all the water because of the airport. There is actually I'm not sure about in other countries, but in the United States there is a architectural requirement for buildings, primarily for the parking lots, where they need so much area for drainage. After all, let's say you have 20 square feet of pavement and 20 square feet of open grassland. If it was all grassland, rain would spread out nice and evenly, but if you have 20 feet of square feet of pavement, all that water can't be soaked into the pavement, so that 20 feet, surface area for the rainwater will be all displaced to the nearby land, effectively doubling the water received. Granted, those are hypothetical numbers, but those hypothetical numbers could be more extreme or less extreme. So I just assume that's why there's a giant pond around the lakes, around the airports. Oh, sorry, I missed that comment. 5 turns of both players mindlessly clown around doesn't seem like fun after seeing, I don't know, 7 turns prior to the same thing. Ah, that must have been about the previous replay. My apologies. Had to use the restroom. Do you know how to tank deployed out on the field? You got a recon by Gage as well. Quite engaging. That was a horrible joke. My apologies. Got a flare and tank there. So Gage has loaded himself up into this tank there. In total, if you move the 3-star defense here, you have plus 50 plus 40. Of course, there's also one comm tower to get +5/+5. Does spot this capturing unit there, but does not interrupt. Multiple captures there, very nice. Airport aimed properly there. And Isabel loaded herself up to tank as well. Even though Gage is indirect specialist, it's not uncommon for him to be uploaded or load up in tanks, since they want a bit more generalist, more flexible in the aspect, because trying to get CO power charged when you only load them directly is a little bit difficult. One thing they could do is, if they want him to be able to pop his power a little bit more, they can increase his radius but remove the CO power benefits as another way to balance it. Right now, 70,000 income versus 18,000. Does get trapped there. And she gets stuck once again like a stepsister. Tank artillery there. Mech gets a good strike on the infantry unit there, so it gets switched to 1. Oh, missile. What? Okay, missile. Oops, not meant to click on the airport. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So placing on top of the comm tower or on top of those ruins will allow the missile to lock down the airport. And I keep clicking the airport to bring up the build view menu. My apologies. So I assume that's why he built a missile there. Though there's so far been no aircraft deployed on the field. Speaking of which, there's now a battlecopter on the field. This is a 2-base map as well, so aircraft are a bit more likely. You have to spend less funds building the infantry every single turn. It's +1 radius there. And the +2 range from a missile could be quite devastating. Able to reach farther than what Isabella will expect. Plus, most time you don't even see missiles in games or are able to be used. Though Gage can make some good use of them, and Fog War Mask makes missiles a little bit more easy, provide a nice defensive net. And Gage loses command tank there, and this is the range of the missile there. The battlecopter is just 1 tower of range. Missiles in Days Ruin has 6 range rather than 5, which makes them a bit more effective, to say the least. Because after all, Battlecopter had a movement range of 6. It could literally just stand outside the range of the missile and then be able to dive it onto it no problem. Gage just loaded himself up into a tank there and put himself on top of the HQ while at it. Got now mech, Battlecopter, and tank. Takes out the recon there, which was pretty far forward for a recon unit. And Isabel now has her superpower. Spending with her tank's turn to use her superpower is going to be a bit of a problem. Let's see. Guess we'll wait till if Gage hits the tank there and not take it out, which he might be able to do it here. And does finish off Isabel's tank there. I was going to say, if she leaves her wounded, she should pop it pretty much immediately. But she does manage to snipe Isabel's command tank there. Rocket recon. Not sure if rocket's a good idea. A little bit too slow. Does get trapped in the command tank there. Of course, he knew it was there, but one way to find it. When it comes to these ruin tiles, remember they only have 1 defense star and they have same traversement as planes, so they're only meant for hiding in Fog of War. And as well as, really do remember this part, 1 defense star, so in non-Fog of War games, they're no different than planes. Something I put a lot of emphasis on. Just because it's a pretty looking tile doesn't mean you should get on top of it. It offers nothing compared to planes and non-Fog of War. The missile is in a good spot, ready to shoot down any aircraft that pass by, particularly civilian airliners. Okay, it's 2 tiles out of the range of the airport, which means during the superpower, this missile can strike and lock down the airport. Blair has fired. Does a good strike down the Battlecopter. Gage's command tank's down to 4 health. And he could merge it with some nearby tank there. Maybe bring this tank back and merge it with this one. The missile did get a good strike there. Artillery, mech, Battlecopter. Isabella does have a medium tank in the field, which could be quite nice, but of course got rockets and artillery. Being a bit of a ball for indirects right now. This indirect has plus 37 firepower, or effectively plus 30, plus 20 from the CO zone. Airports hide air. Actually, I'm pretty sure air units can't be hidden even on airports. Unless they can hide air units on airports, but I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Income, vision, hideable units. Okay, yeah, you're alright. Air and ground. Because if you look at a ruins here, only ground. So they can hide air units. My bad. Temporary airports. Can temporary airports hide air and ground or just air? Or okay, can hide air and ground. Yep. He does have lost the comm tower, so now there's plus 10 against him, which is quite important. War tank flare. Flare did fire there. I do like how the fact that even though there's a lot of changes in Tiny Wars as well as Days in general, Tiny Wars made it very nice. You can just simply click on the tile and read what it does. It is so nice. Tiny Wars did a great job of making stuff readable, particularly for players like me, or really just a caster, not even a player, who can just simply slow down and read. It's such a good thing in a lot of strategy games. He has loaded himself up to a war tank now rather than a missile. Would it be too much of a meme to load himself up to a missile? Granted, this war tank is quite beefy. It has plus 50, plus 40 extra stats. It does get spotted there by the tank. Of course, the tank will likely go down. The rocket did take a nice hit there. Right now, Gage has 73,000 field, Isabel enters of 88, so got about basically a full turn ahead for Isabella. Takes out the battle cup. This missile has at least gotten 4 kills so far. And the war tank man strikes the medium tank there. I think this is a pretty big game changer for Gage this turn. Many massive kills. He drops the capture over here. So, Gage's comm tower is still secure. Oh yeah, I think both of them flipped each other. I was not paying any attention over this side of the map. Gage basically has this entire side of the map captured, and there's just been very little conflict over here. So I completely missed this aspect. So it was not... Nope. Isabel positive power. I didn't realize she had her power available to her. She may have just had unable to identify where it's at. Yep, she's finally found the missile. Anti-tank tank. Let's see, Isabel in turn of 75, Gage starts turn 72. So it's back down turn-to-turn difference. Capture progress. 5 remaining, 1 health, so it's interrupted quite severely. So this guy will need to come over here to continue the capture or abandon with the infantry move there. There's 2 capture progress remaining, so hard to say what exactly she should do. But has anti-air and artillery in range of these 2 units there, so this could be secured. Another mech pushing forward, that's going to cause some issues. Battlecopter mech tank. Isabella's turn, 63 versus 89, so Gage starting to pull ahead. But 2 pretty big hits there. But looks like this infantry unit will be wiped out next turn, and so this bike will have to follow up capturing squad. The missile has been pulled back a little bit, and it's also so max vet. Now the artillery pushes forward into the forest, able to lock down and protect this comm tower quite nicely. So Gage, it feels like the game's going more and more in his favor, as well as gone for another war tank, and has a tank starting to advance to the front line. And has her command tank here, of course, no power charge. Now has the power charge. Takes up both those units here. A tank push before the war tank, maybe a one-shot Isabella's command tank there. Yeah, it's Gage's Gage command tank there, so yeah, that will easily. Probably like 120% damage at least. That's my guess, 120% damage. If he had vision of it. Can't see until it gets spotted. Takes another missile, gets another kill there. I just realized this missile is almost as effective as the missile against Mengs against that one game. Nope, I was completely off at the percentage. Just 86 out of 86. Can you see bonus to extra damage? Nothing about it. Like her tank. Gage in turn for 93,000 has the CO power as well, so I can sack the turn of his war tank to use it. Isabella has 79,000, so her day-to-day income will even out, but it's still feels like an ever increasingly worse position. Takes out the recon there. Gets trapped by the mech. At least artillery can cover it. Medium tank heading down south. War tank falls back. It looks like she's overall just falling back out of the area. Gage has his superpower, but nothing in real visual range. Isabelle does not have any aircraft left anymore, so the missile can no longer shoot down targets other than civilian airliners. I wonder if anybody gets that joke. Either way, counter does not get interrupted there. 11 capture progress. Did get interrupted, doesn't get stopped. And no CO power this turn. And this T-Copter has consumed quite a bit of fuel. Down 24 fuel. And now trying to flip some properties down here. Gage? Wait a second, I just realized something. Gage is 16,000, Isabelle is 22. Gage is doing really well with this income difference. I just now realized that, holy crap. This missile is probably what's keeping him in the game. It's just providing sheer value. She's been throwing the extra income into the missile. Another rock on the field. Gage has to actually really focus on capturing game. He lost quite a bit of properties down over here. Now the bike's coming over here to flip. He also needs to start eyeing for these two here as well. He is retaining the control of his column tower thanks to this artillery piece. Some things rotating over here. Artillery, bike, and Battlecopter falls back to T-port. Very nice. Isabelle just trying to establish a front line right here. I do like the placement of this T-port airport as well. It's far enough away from over here to help support this flank while not able to produce from it. Isabella has caught up in funding. In fact, she's starting to pull ahead because of a sheer income, it seems like. She can play defensive, and that's what she has been. She has a really good income lead. But Gage will capture up 2 properties next turn. We'll go from 16 to 18, 22 to down to 20, greatly evening out income. Isabelle still has a nice advantage, but thanks to her income advantage, she's able to equalize the game. Gage's war tank is a one shot there. Of course, has to be very careful. Is on top of his own cities for a bit of hiding. Getting the Battlecopters in reserve, is careful, worried about any sort of AA and AAA. Right there on the mech. Got a artillery and medium tank. 1 health tank is a good spotting run, sees a whole bunch of stuff. And Gage's war tank could be focused down this turn. I see a number of assets can point towards him. Rocket is in range. Anything that's not in range but can help engage the Battlecopters. And got the medium tanks. Isabelle may need to get her CO unit over here to boost these units, but there's possibly Gage's war tank go down. We got 146 starting out versus 146 ending. So Isabelle is about a turn ahead once again. Get some free power charge there, that's for sure. She's at 39 energy. She probably won't get her CO power this turn. But get some good power charge there. A lot of good power charge. At 55, pulls back the command tank back here to provide her aura to these units. I just need 2 more engines to get her CO power, which she probably can't do. At least this turn. But Gage's war tank did go down there. And she has really dampened Gage's advance now. He could seal himself up into the Battlecopter, which would be a nice Battlecopter. And yeah, Gage is back down to 100,000. Isabelle's at 159. Does see himself in the battle copter there just to get a boosted strike there. After all, he does provide himself a good amount of firepower to himself as a CO unit. Does get trapped there. He also rotated the missile down south. I think that was a good idea. The airport's up here, so keeping the missile close to this airport would be a better idea. I can see on top of this ruins, but this may be a little bit too far to the right. Isabella's superpower now gives her indirect units plus 1 indirect range. And of course all over ground because plus 2 movement range. This could be game point there. A lot of outlying units get picked off there. Spots the artillery piece. Plus 2 movement range allows the medium tank to charge forward. Strikes the artillery piece there with the 3 health mech. Medium tank. And anti-air. And serve 128 versus 80,000. Isabella is, just because she has been having better income, able to keep in this game after getting catastrophic losses to that missile. When she stopped doing that, she started doing much better. Okay, some medium tank there. Battlecopter strikes there as well. T-copter push forward a mech. 1 health tanks get some good spotting there. Flare artillery. 1 cheaper this last turn, has 8,700 left in the bank. Isabella's pulling back. She doesn't have income advantage, so she can always pull back. No income advantage is small. Artillery, that's one way to scout it out. Charge for 2 health artillery piece. Does not finish off that unit there, so couldn't stop the capture there. The anti-air rolled a little bit too low to get it flipped. On powers to offer 3 defense stars. The missile pushed pretty far forward there. Out of range of the airport, but pretty close. But also very vulnerable here. Like I said before, this is probably the best spot for the missile. We'll still need a bit of spotting there from a flare or by a unit to charge forward. And Gage has gone for bomber. Spots the missile. Spike does get a bit of damage there. Of course, can get 2 health repair. Good funds drain. Engage will not be able to get a superpower this turn. His command copter's too far back, but not full health thanks to the temporary airport. Artillery pushed pretty far forward. As well as it could make a lucrative target if it brings something into the range of his own artillery. Bomber rotating out left to have engage the potentially side without anti-air, since it's more likely to side with the anti-air. The Empires are 2 medium tanks there, so keeping the 1 health tank around or as a meat shield. There's a battle copter there as well. Good picks there by Isabella. Gage has 52 energy, possible CO power this turn. Actually, that's 5 energy. It is very possible he gets a CO power this turn. Whether or not he actually uses it is another matter. If he does, he can take out this battlecopter. Bomber can charge forward and actually, possibly, hard to say exactly what will happen this turn. Uses the battlecopter this turn, so he has CO power, but cannot deploy it. Mechas good strike there. Flare finish off the anti-air. Does spot the anti-air there, however, does body block it, but it will be easy to pick it off. But the bomber is in range of the anti-air. And it should be easy to displace the bike there. Got 2 artillery pieces here, 1 fully vet, 1 8 health. Anti-air. Trying to flip that comm tower. No artillery there to protect it. Oh, CO's the artillery piece there. Went from max vet to CO. That was quite an investment then. So effectively lost the efficiency there. Oh, and the bomber stays alive. Okay, so didn't charge forward and wound the bomber. I said that would have been worth it. But now Gage can pull out his superpower. Nothing would be in range for the missile, nor in not many other indirects on the field, so maybe not a good idea to pull out the superpower this turn. Probably just keep the command copter safe. As 92 versus 131, so he's pretty far behind, about 2 turns now. Putting property. Oh! So much for trying to keep that safe. It is not going to live this turn. Gage is going for a full-out assault. Let's find out. Well, now it's 9 health, but of course there's a CO power, CO zone with 15% defense, so let's take a look what this will do. 8 points of damage. And that will be close enough, since one beforehand didn't have a CO zone, or did it? It did. But if you were to think about it, this, if you remove 2 health, reducing its firepower not by 20%, it would at least probably do 6 points of damage. Which is still pretty good. After all, 4 health bomber is not great. And that was a max event to anti-air as well. Not a lot of things going on there, but a 4 health bomber or a 5 health bomber is not too particularly great. Just okay. Just get it finished off there. And spots the missile, ready to take out another battlecopter. Could CO something push forward and get some easy power charge there. Good strike there. Battlecopter mech tank. Right now the incomes are actually equal, 9,000, 9,000. Both players have a comm tower, but Isabel still has a pretty good advantage on the field. Starts a turn of 9,600 funds after all repairs. That's a lot of repairs. Takes out the battlecopter. She's at 55 energy. She won't get her CO power this turn, but she is very close to say the least. And a lot of pretty good counterattack there against Gage. Down to 50,000. I think at this point in time, I think Gage has lost. Gage's turn. Isabel ends turn to 124,000. Gage's turn to 52. It's not much more Gage could do. Gets trapped there on the anti-air with a battlecopter, so that's a done for battlecopter. T-copter is almost out of fuel again, so it's been getting some great users there. And yeah, that's probably game over. Pops the superpower. Giving +2 range and +2 move range, so now she can really finish him off this turn. Strikes the missile. The missile goes down. The ace missile has been destroyed. It definitely got 5 kills this game. Maybe even double ace, but I don't think it was a double ace. I think it was just a single ace. Gage now down to 33. Yeah, that's game over. Looks like he's going to play out the resigns. This Angrade saying, thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. Probably have time for one more replay tonight. Let's see now. I do have 3 replays queued on up, so I'm going to try to find which one's the best. If you guys see a matchup you'd like to see, let me know. Let's see. I already did both of these players, so maybe not this one. 21 turns. Oops. I've done quite a bit of Yoshi Rider, and Yoshi Rider games tend to last for a decent amount of time. It also seems like I always cast Yoshi Rider losing. I guess Yoshi Rider only does well in shorter games. Oh yeah, this map I was sort of interested in. It's very small. It's also 25 turns. I may actually attempt to do this one. It's between two relatively low players on an incredibly small map, which could be quite interesting. Try to mix in some other newer player replays. Not necessarily lower rank, just new players, which could be good, could be bad. Whoops. And this one here. Nope, we'll do this one. Greetings everyone, and Grade here of another Advanced Wars Days of Ruin Tiny Wars replay. Spawn bottom right side as the red wheel. We've got Ari 32. I always want to know if that's actually properly pronounced. I can never pronounce anything. Let's see if I can pronounce the other player's name. Come, Swallower. And that is Chorus Penny. Nope, not going to say that anymore. Lolly. Got 50 boarding costs, 3 radius, 30, 60, and 60. All units not affected by weather, and gets a nice modest plus 15 for all units. When it comes to the superpower, provides 3 turns of wind and weather, which actually is quite devastating. Will, of course, is unchanged the cartridge counterpart, 50% boarding costs, 2 radius, 30, 60, 60. Plus 10 for all units, and direct ground units get plus 20% offense. Of course, and make for the superpower, nice and simple, add plus 2 movement range. So, let's get started. Mr. Bear has advised deployment of 2 bikes. This map is a little bit different. They start off with enough properties in the map to allow deployment of 2 bikes, but looks like Will went for an infantry unit instead. Probably going to cheap out in order to get this property for cheap, but of course the follow-up captures will be a little bit far. Bike. Of course the infantry unit could just simply walk to the center of the map as well. Bike infantry. And looks like Penny did the same as well with this infantry unit as well. I was paying close enough attention. Usually for the capturing game, I sort of provide minimal commentary, because I don't really know what would be the best capture game overall. I think just capturing everything as soon as it can is the best capture order, which is not really much to say. Granted, this map does not have any comm towers for you to rush either way, but we do have a mech. Mechs, of course, slow compared to bikes, very slow. So maybe a transport? Not sure what the mech's going to be super useful at this exact moment. Guess we'll find out soon enough. We have Penny been loaded up into a bike. Mr. Bear is a sidecar, gunner. Tank. Mech. So we've got a chain of mechs being pulled in the field as well immediately. Let's see how this goes. Mechs, of course, counter everything, but they get countered by everything. Their biggest issue is just mobility, but they offer a great firepower for 2,500 funds. They have the same firepower as a tank, just has 1/3 the movement speed, and a lot less durability. But they also offer the same firepower as a battlecopter, which is also equal to a tank. Did interrupt the capture here. The bike could do a drone capture, or just continue firing upon it. Decide to continue fire upon it. Maybe best to pick it off, but maybe best to try to continue capturing. Actually, did that unit not do anything less? Wait, I can't revert back turns. I'm pretty sure that Ike did nothing this turn. That may have been an oversight there. It didn't continue capturing, didn't continue, yeah, 5 capture progress, so a bit of a mismove order there. Bit of an oversight. Let's see how bad it goes if you make a mistake like that. And the 2F bike does fall back to a city to get repaired on up. Granted, the capture would not complete since it already got picked off there. so it would have been a good idea to kind of finish it off. Chain of mechs being pulled in the field. It got an interrupted chain of mechs of a tank. Will's command tank is in range, but no energy charge just yet. No engagement, no morph just yet. Finish off that bike there. Takes out that unit there. Of course, now we've got a nice wall of bikes here, allowing the tank to be pushed forward quite aggressively and very safely. Got artillery, tank, and bike. Oh, here got tank. And looks like we'll have some good presence down south. Nothing to stop this tank just yet. True, and this map is quite wide. There's a lot. This map's more designed for wheeled vehicles of all the roads. So mechs, I just feel a little bit too slow. They are being sent to the center of the map. Get a nice strike there, getting up to 29 energy. Doesn't get +1 raise just yet. But with the nearby bikes, you can easily just remerge into another bike to get a full health. When you don't use your unit for combat, you can be loaded up into a relatively cheap unit, get just focus on power generation, and that's what Penny's eyeing. And Penny is an A tier CO to S tier CO in this game. And when she gets a chain of weather, she just wins. It's very difficult to stop the so many weather than Penny. Or summoned by Mr. Bear, I should say. Get some good strikes there, and also retaliation damage, getting a +1 energy, so both players have 31 energy. Oh, yeah. Definitely an interesting name. Looks like Penny's keep her distance. Does have nice chain of mechs. Artillery ready to cover both bridge heads, so Will have trouble pushing through over here. He may need to try to exploit this bridge, but even then he just outnumbered tanks over here. May need to get a medium tank. Excuse me. Maybe at this one time battle copters could be quite nice to help break up here. Excuse me. I think that, well, go for battlecopter, push over here, and then it's like, oh, ain't you going this direction? Go the upwards. Weapons and probably is a good idea, but Will has charged on the bridgehead, and now we'll see if artillery barrage. All of these things are battered and bruised, but it looks like Will focus on Will's command tank quite easily there. Penny's at 58 energy, and he has a superpower. What weather do you think it's going to be? Take your guess right now. You got 1 to 3 chance. 1 to 3 odds. I'm guessing the worst weather in non-Fog of War maps is rain, so I'm guessing rain. It's rain. That's the worst weather you can get in a non-Fog of War map, because now you're completely blind while Penny, first turn, is not blind, and for the following turn, she just has regular Fog of War. Darude Sandstorm, nice joke. Nice. And now look at Will's vision. Abysmal. Absolutely abysmal, but he does have some good unnecessary spotting at the moment. But rain calls the need for a flare to be deployed in the field. Flares at least are pretty good combatants, even if you don't really want to have the flare on the field. Actually, flares are disturbingly powerful for machine guns, so going for a flare is not too bad of an issue versus Penny, even in non-Fog War maps, because you do not want to be caught out over in the rain. Battlecopter infantry. Oh, that's horrible. I like that joke. H2, oh no. I love horrible jokes. Even though I'm not a dad, I probably have enough dad jokes to be warranted to be one. Right now, Penny has 66,000, Will has 47, so still day-to-day difference, but Will has to now fight through all this rain, and it's going to cause big issues for him. Look at that vision drop. Because he does see this tank, doesn't see these tanks, and now Penny can go for more valuable assets. She can go for Battlecopter, and will only have this Battlecopter to engage it. I think Penny should be eyeing Battlecopters around the tanks during the rain, because Will have a late response with anti-air. Hate the rain on your parade. Oh, he didn't really have a big parade to begin with. Good shot there. He has 7 energy at the moment. That's 7 energy. Make that 10 now. That 10 energy. But yeah, I really do think Penny should be eyeing some bit more heavy Battlecopters in the rain. Does spot the tank there with Rune's bona fide hiding rather than any sort of extra defense stars compared to Plains. There's also still one despicable neutral property down here. Penny has 18,000 versus 15,000. Tank hits the tank. Battlecopter does interrupt the capture. What's the extra defense here? Take out those units, take out that tank there. Of course, in range the artillery, which he had no vision of its advance, and has a bit of shooting gallery in front of it. The rain has subsided, so now we'll realize, oh crap, I put 2 tanks next to the artillery piece. Though there's not any supporting tanks here to really stop the artillery from being overran. Well, some well placement of units there is always a good idea. And if the tank wants to push forward, actually, this artillery is now in a position where it can also be used bait. Put the tank here, get a shot there, and then receive retaliation from this tank. So he left this Penny left this area opening as also a bait. That's actually very good as well. Can't pick that artillery, might as well able to fire and use as bait. Turn a disadvantage into an advantage. Penny's playing this game masterfully, as well as utilizing her power of rain. Didn't get enough power charge far from it to get another superpower going. No chain of weather, but the rain was very effective. That looks like the tank will still get managed to broken through. Then now, the tank probably won't be able to hit one of those tanks there unless we're willing to receive retaliation. Will's making some good engagements down south. Tank, bike, and bike. Penny's at 22 energy. Will's at 39. Maybe 0 now. Yep, 0 now. Does strike the wounded tank there. Taking off some outlying infantry units there. Battlecopter rotating over there. Good pick there. A little bit of merge there. And 30 energy. Battlecopter, I think Penny's command bike will go down next turn. Probably a good idea to focus it down rather than trying to hit one of those tanks. Oh, and Will puts his command tank in a good position to get some good power charge. Does not, does not finish it off there with 3% health. Will's making a pretty good, starting to pull ahead, and starting 30, 67, Penny starts turning 61. Couple good picks down here. Nothing stopped this Battlecopter at the moment, but the anti-air is in range. Battlecopter here support as well. Saw that tank there, but looks like Penny's bike will go down, but taking out the 36 energy. Very nice. Tank there. Anti-air bike. And starting for 79, Will has 76 with his day-to-day income. Yeah, rough, still actually lagging a little behind. But taking out Penny's command bike there is very important. Good strikes there. Battlecopter has free reign at the moment. trying to get the battle copter forward. Let's be careful about that anti-air. Anti-air tank. Right now, Penny's 3,000 income difference is starting to pay some dividends. Will's tank here is actually pretty low in ammo. That's actually going to be a bit of a problem. He could merge these two tanks together to replenish the ammo, which may be necessary. Right now, Penny could do something strange. Since it's so low in ammo, it's probably going to go... No, it did not try to push forward and engage. So trying to resupply ammo, because if this tank were to push forward and engage this tank, it would be down to 1 ammo. Then this tank could simply counterattack, bleeding its ammo down to 0, allowing this tank to push a bit more aggressively, engage this tank here, and has no chance of retaliation. Because a tank can't retaliate without ammo. So pulling back on the city to get ammo is a good call. Of course, and it has to be careful there. It needs to keep the battlecopters in range, so ward away this battlecopter and perhaps hit the other tanks. Mech, bike, anti-air. Now Penny's loaded up with a much more durable tank rather than bike. Will's command tank does go down there. Finish off the 5 health tank there. Of course, now Will is in a 2v1 situation versus tanks, but this battlecopter will rotate up north and get a good strike there. That's probably in order. Nice to take out one of those battlecopters. Probably a good idea to put the other battlecopter into the battlecopter just to knock it out. Because this anti-air will go down to the tanks. Will is trying to flip some of these properties. Very important. Does go ahead and put a strike in this tank, but let's see. 13 energy there, so not enough for the CO power. Gotta be careful of the C. Great opponent CO energy. Probably could have got some engagements over here before moving away to make sure to get maximized CO charge. At 50 energy. I got 3 energy there, but only missed on 3 energy, so could have been a 55, right now 52. Could be important, but there's a lot of targets up here, so maybe not too important. That, let's see. Good chance she can get her CO power. Yeah, anti-air to battlecopter. There's going to be weather next turn. What weather do you think Penny will summon? I'm guessing snow. Because Penny will get her superpower this turn. Oh! Oh, she already had it. Sand. I should probably put a bit more delay when asking questions. Oh well, my apologies. Will's turn. Will has 47,000 starting versus 87,000 ending with his day-to-day. He's about a turn behind. Nice little merge there. Now he has to fight for minus 30% firepower for 3 turns. That is crippling. That's effectively having a superpower active for 3 turns. Wait, did that bike do 0 damage? Oh, no, it did 2 damage. Tank. It's another anti-air there. Tank on tank. Now Penny's able to get some power charge before the next superpower. A grand staggering total of 4 so far. And Will's tank there just get focused on by all those tanks. I think Will is... Yeah, he's down to 41,000 for 74 plus day-to-day. Yeah, I think Will's going to be knocked out of the game. Tank infantry. And Will has resigned. Let's see, Stormfront comes, 3 forms: Sky Crane, Sand Hassle, and Snow Business. Either way, that is the end of the replay. This Angrade saying, thanks for watching, and on to the next replay. And that's probably going to be the end of the stream for me. Voice is starting to go out. And plus it's time to eat some dinner.